Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir.
Hello everyone, CK7 here, and I just say Merry Christmas to everyone out there. What can I say? I love Christmas. I mean, who doesn't love Christmas?
Humbug! 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 Humbug!
Humbug.
Humbug! Humbug!
Humduck!
Okay, except for those sort of folks, but either way, I absolutely love this time of the year. I love the lights, the trees, the decoration, the music, the fact that we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior. But ever since I was a little kid, the one thing I always look forward to every year, aside from the presents, it was the Christmas specials. From movies to TV original films, to episodes of some of our favorite TV shows, everyone has at least one or two or several favorite Christmas specials that they always look forward to every year to watch the month of December. With that said, I've decided that I'm going to count down my top 20 personal favorite Christmas specials of all time. Why top 20? Well, because 12 just isn't enough, now is it? I mean, there are just so many wonderful specials out there that it's really hard just to resort to just 12. And plus, so many other people on YouTube have already done top 12s that it's getting a little old. Why not expand a little? So, without further ado, this is my top 20 personal favorite Christmas specials of all time.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Number 20.
Happy New Year.
Home Alone. Okay, so this film isn't entirely Christmas-centered, but it does take place during the holiday and is full of tons of imagery that we normally associate with it. Either way, this is a very enjoyable film that is full of slapstick, but also a lot of heart. The story we all should be familiar with. 8-year-old Kevin McAllister, played by Macaulay Culkin, is accidentally left home by himself when his enormous family leave for their flight to Paris for Christmas. What follows is our young protagonist getting into all sorts of mischief, while also dealing with the two burglars, Harry and Marv. And we all know what happens from there. Kevin sets up booby traps all over the house, bandits get pulverized, and he's reunited with his mother at the end. Along with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, this is without a doubt one of John Hughes' best films he's ever produced. It just has that perfect mix of emotion and heartfelt moments, as well as humor that will make your belly ache. At least I could say for its 3 horrendous sequels. And by 3 horrendous sequels, I mean the 3rd, 4th, and 5th film. The second film's okay, but not as good as the first film. The acting for the most part is really good. While I wouldn't consider this to be Culkin's best performance, that would probably be an Uncle Buck, I thought he was pretty decent.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the Wet Bandits are a ton of fun and are probably my favorite characters in the film.
I'm gonna kill that kid!
Even John Hurt and Catherine O'Hara as the parents were really believable.
You forgot him.
I didn't forget him, I just miscounted.
What kind of mother am I?
I also really love Robert Blossom as the neighbor, Old Man Marley. Despite his gruff-looking appearance, he turns out to be a very nice old man who has a granddaughter he truly loves. A hilarious, but also very heartwarming film, it really shows us that no one should spend Christmas, well, home alone.
We wish you the best day ever, and hope all your Christmas endeavors are super fun, amazing, and clever. And that your new
Number 19.
rocks too.
When it comes to our favorite cartoon shows, a good majority of them have at least 1 or 2 or even several Christmas or Christmas-themed episodes. And every cartoon lover out there has at least 1 or 2 favorites they always look forward to every year to watch. But for me, there's 2 in particular. The first of these being A Very Possible Christmas. In this 37th episode of Kim Possible, Ron wants to give Kim a special Christmas present after she gave him a CD scrapbook of their childhood. He finds out that Dr. Dragon's up to no good, and decides to stop him by himself so that Kim can enjoy Christmas with her family. But when he and Dragon get trapped in the North Pole, Kim, along with her family, come to their rescue. For a show that has a pretty strange plot, as strange as a teenage girl who has to deal with the drama of high school and a 007 lifestyle, along with an awkward nacho-eating sidekick and his pet naked Morak can get, it happens! This episode is probably one of the most heartfelt of the whole series. Kim's family acts like a legit family. In the past they can get into arguments and disagreements, but here it really shows how strong they are together. It also shows how strong Kim and Ron's friendship truly is.
It's a cyber scrapbook. Do you like it?
It's It's Batical.
There's also this subplot about how Ron is upset that they canceled his favorite Christmas special. This eventually leads to a scene that is both kind of funny and also really touching. And yeah, for the sake of those who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil the ending. Then there's Phineas and Ferb's Christmas Vacation. Yeah, despite how some people have mediocre opinions towards the show, I generally do enjoy Phineas and Ferb, and its Christmas special is no exception. Phineas and Ferb want to give Santa a present as a way of thanking him for all the hard work he's done for everyone, so they build him a rest stop as well as decorate the entire city of Danville. While that's going on, Candace is trying to find the perfect gift for Jeremy, but, as usual for a character, overreacts over the whole thing. And while that's all going on, Perry the Platypus sneaks off to attend a Christmas party with the rest of the OWCA, but unfortunately gets an emergency call that Doofenshmirtz is planning something devious for the holidays. Well, I think Monogram said it best.
Evil people hate Christmas. It's a cliche. Sad cliche.
Turns out the Doctor has built a Naughtyinator, a device that will cause Santa's naughty nice list to brand everyone in Danville as naughty. There's just one problem, though.
Don't actually have a problem with Christmas. There's no tragic holiday-related backstory in my past. Christmas was always fine growing up. It wasn't great, it wasn't horrible. You see, unlike every other evil scientist, I don't hate Christmas.
That is just hilarious. But after getting harassed by some Christmas carolers, I never thought that'd be a running trend in holiday specials. He activates the machine, making the whole city of Danville seem naughty and therefore canceling Christmas. With the help of two of Santa's elves, it's up to Phineas, Ferb, and the gang to, you guessed it, save Christmas.
Of course.
Okay, so it's not all that great of a Christmas special, but for what it is mildly entertaining. Full of songs, humor, and a lot of heart, not to mention a lot of allusions to other Christmas specials. When it comes to cartoon Christmas specials, what a better way to look than Disney Channel for these two entertaining episodes. Number 18. The RankinBass specials. Which ones? Well, really four in particular. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, The Little Drummer Boy, and The Year Without a Santa Claus. The others I find are okay to just mediocre, but these are the four I love the most. Each one has a unique story, whether it be a different take on a Christmas icon we all know and love, or a completely original story. Yeah, I know the stop-motion animation is pretty dated, but for the 60s and 70s, it's pretty impressive. Even though some of the time it can come off as creepy and kinda awkward. I think what impresses me about these specials is the songs. Yeah, sure, we have the traditional songs that we all know and love, but it also has a lot of original songs that many of us know and love to this day. Such as... as well as...
one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor.
And need we forget...
I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr. Snow. Whatever I touch turns to snow in my clutch. I'm too much.
Whether it's with Rudolph, Santa, or even the Little Drummer Boy, these specials hold a place in many people's hearts.
I'll give to Agents A through Z. Carl, get away from
Number 17.
I'm saving that for me.
Sorry, sir.
A Muppet Family Christmas. What's a great holiday special without Jim Henson's creations? The Muppets have had several Christmas specials in the past, but this one is without a doubt one of their best. The Muppets all have Christmas at Fozzie's mother's farmhouse, who did not even expect her son to bring company over. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. There really isn't a story. It's just the Muppets doing various things, like decorating the house, cooking food, singing Christmas carols, making jokes, and so on. But despite not really having much of a plot, it still holds up just fine. It really feels like an actual get-together with friends and family. And it's not just the Muppets. The Sesame Street gang also join in on the fun, and there's a short segment where Kermit and Robin meet the Fraggles. With some carols, jokes, and a lot of heart, A Muppet Family Christmas is a special that every Jim Henson fan can enjoy. Number 16. Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean. I will admit I never watched that much of Mr. Bean, but I vaguely remember seeing the Christmas episode. Going back and rewatching it again, it has entered itself onto my list of favorites. Like with Muppet Family Christmas, there isn't much of a plot, it's just our main character getting himself into all sorts of trouble, from stealing a Christmas tree to getting his head stuck into a turkey. I think my favorite part is when he is playing with the nativity scene by using tanks, a dinosaur, and even a Dalek. This special does prove to be a perfect example on how you don't necessarily need dialogue in order to be funny. Most of the humor comes from Mr. Bean's actions and his childlike expressions. Not too much to it, but let's just say you don't have to be a Mr. Bean fan in order to enjoy this holiday comedy.
I wish for a calculator, slash in the English translator, to find a common
Number 15.
in both of my tongues.
The Snowman. Now here's a special I hadn't seen since I was a kid. Based on the children's book by Raymond Briggs, this half-hour special was released in Britain in 1982. The story isn't anything that complex. It tells the tale about a young boy who builds a snowman on a winter day. But at the very night, the snowman comes to life at the stroke of 12. I love that cliche, right? The rest of the film is just the boy showing the snowman his home and then leads to the two of them flying over the British countryside and eventually end up at a party with a bunch of other snow people. Much like the book, this short film has no dialogue with the exception of Raymond Briggs talking in the opening and the song Walking in the Air. The story is told through visuals, action, and music, a lot like a Fantasia segment, and that's what makes this special so wonderful. Sometimes you don't always need talking in order to tell the story. The expressions on the characters alone is enough to understand what's going on. The animation is amazing itself. It almost reminds me of Watership Down or the Plague Dogs. But I think the scene that everyone remembers is the ending. The ending is pretty depressing. However, as a kid, I never quite got it. I mean, I understand why the boy is sad. His snowman, who became his best friend, has melted. Couldn't you have just rebuilt him, kind of like what the kids did with Frosty? Going back and rewatching this special, I think I may have figured out what this ending really meant. I think the real reason this scene gives people the feels is because the melting of the snowman meant another year of the boy's childhood has come to another end. That's actually really deep for such a simple story about a boy and a snowman. What can I say? Full of gorgeous animation, a lot of heart, and an ending that will leave you with feels and commentary, The Snowman is a definite watch for the holidays.
Wedgies I'll give to all of you nerds. That's how I say Merry
Number
Christmas.
14.
I ain't good with words.
Arthur Christmas. This has to be one of the most underrated Christmas films ever. Released in 2011, this film got mediocre responses. Most people just totally forgotten this film. And that is a dying shame because this film, if given the chance, could become a Christmas classic. The story centers around Santa's clumsy son Arthur, who goes on a mission to give a present to a young girl whom they have forgotten to deliver. And they only have less than 2 hours before the sun comes up for Christmas morning. Okay, so it sounds like a basic premise with not a lot to offer, but that's where you'd be mistaken. First of all, the comedy is hilarious and very fast-paced, especially in the opening where the elves are delivering the gifts. There's even this one elf who joins Arthur on his quest, who takes her job very seriously when it comes to the wrapping department.
There's no time for a bow. There's always time for a bow.
I also really liked how well developed the whole Santa family really is and how they each have their own personal views on how to deliver the gifts. You have the older brother who wants to do things high-tech and modernized, the grandfather who wants to keep things traditional, and the actual Santa himself who is just kind of incompetent on what to do. And of course you have Arthur himself who just wants to make sure everyone gets what they want for Christmas no matter how it's delivered, traditionally or modernized. So there really is a lot to love from this film. I would go more detailed, but the Nostalgia Critic did a really good editorial on the film that pretty much sums up my opinion, so there's really not much else for me to say. If you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor and check it out this year.
I wish you would let me rule you. In evil, I'm going to school you. I won't sugarcoat or fool
Number 13.
you. Your New Year's looks grim.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. If this was a countdown of my top favorite movies of all time, this would probably be much higher than most of the other films you'll see later on in the countdown. But I am judging these on how I love them as Christmas specials, and as such, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a really, really good one. We all know the story, we all know the characters, we all sing the songs. For a film that wasn't that huge of a success at first, it quickly became a huge hit. It became a film that people obsess over during both Halloween and Christmas. And yes, I am one of those people as well. It may not be as deep and complex as some of Tim Burton's other works, like Edward Scissorhands, but it still is without a doubt one of his best.
And they call him Sandy Claus.
I warn you, my new innator will force you to serve me later. So why not just choose
Number 12.
to my every whim?
Elf. Here's a little backstory for you. When this film first came out, I did not know what to expect from it. I never saw any advertisements, and at the time, I wasn't familiar with Will Ferrell. But that's mostly because around this time, he has played in a lot of cinematic stinkers. But my family and I went to see it, and we had a blast. This is easily one of the funniest Christmas films out there, and it's all because of Will Ferrell's performance. His role as Buddy the Elf is just wonderful, as he plays this very childlike and innocent character. If it wasn't for him, the film would have likely not do very well, since the rest of the film is just kinda meh. The story is kinda unoriginal, the characters are dull, and the jokes that are not done by Will Ferrell aren't really that funny.
A tribe of asparagus children, but they're self-conscious about the way their pee smells.
But Ferrell really made up for it and gave us numerous hilarious scenes like
I just wanted a hug. Hey, have you seen these toilets? They're ginormous.
and need we forget this film opened at second place at the box office, finishing behind The Matrix Revolutions. It became so popular that it even got a Broadway musical and just recently a stop-motion special. Overall, Elf is a film that never ceases to amuse me.
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God!
We wish your every endeavor makes this the best Christmas ever. And we're all so glad that we have never mentioned it.
Number 11. The Little Match Girl. Like with Home Alone, this special isn't exactly much of a Christmas special, but it does have this sort of holiday feel to it, as well as it has some of the important messages that most Christmas specials teach, like helping the unfortunate and hope. The 7-minute long Disney short is based on the short story written by Hans Christian Andersen, who also wrote The Little Mermaid. Which is ironic since this short was released alongside The Little Mermaid Platinum Edition in 2006. The short shows a young girl who is trying to sell matches in the street. She is also very poor and suffering from hypothermia. And honestly, I probably should start right here. Let me just say, this is without a doubt one of the most, if not the most emotional thing Disney has ever produced. And considering the roundup of heartbreaking and emotional scenes they have given us in the past, that is saying a lot. Overall, this is a holiday short that you should definitely check out. Just make sure you have a tissue on standby.
Oh, great, well now we've mentioned it.
You know, no one would have noticed if you'd have just kept your mouth shut.